Thank you guys for your patience and for being here. Hopefully we'll have more people join us soon. Like JT said, we did a workshop previously and it was a success. We decided to do another. So it's basically like a life skills edition where we talk about skills that our young people need, basically teaching them things that they don't learn at school. So everything else, you know, in school, they teach you how to get a job and start the 9 to 5. But here we're going to be teaching them how to live life and the skills that they need to gain the resilience to have a successful future. And today we're going to be talking about communication skills because we all, right now, we're communicating, right? And this is one of the biggest skills that we need to have as individuals because we have to interact with each other as humans. So we'll be learning how to listen, how to express, and really just connect for success. Because it's one thing to communicate and it's another thing to actually connect with people. So who am I? I'm Taraji Rom. I'm a life coach and the founder of the Name a Mission. We're due to launch soon. I'm also a mentor and the author of the 5 Secrets to Finding Your Purpose in Life. And what the Name a Mission does is we're helping children and young people from disadvantaged communities with key skills and life skills that they'll need to reduce inequalities and really just set them up for success to be well-rounded and successful individuals, regardless of their background. And we do this by mentoring and engaging them with training workshops and programs. So to get started, can we just roughly just talk about what everyone wants to gain from this communication workshop and why they've joined? Anyone want to start us out? Nathan, do you want to go talk about why you've joined? Why you've joined the communications workshop?
So I can communicate with people better.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Anyone else want to? Wendy?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm here, sorry. To be honest, I think same as everyone to basically learn like the basic skills for having effective communication with just anybody, really. Yeah, thank you.
Sounds good, thank you. Okay, so that's why we're here. That's what we're going to learn today. We're going to start with a communications exercise, right? We're going to form a story in every one of us. So how this works is one person starts a story and you end that story with "and then," right? And then the next person carries on the story from where you left off. Does that make sense? So anyone want to start? Nathan, do you want to start or start the story? So it could be anything, just start a story and we all finish the story.
I went to the shops and then.
Okay. Who wants to go next? JT, or did you want to say something?
So I actually didn't hear what Nathan said.
He said, I went to the shops and then.
I went home and had something to eat and then.
And then I fell asleep because the food knocked me out. And then. Peace, Wendy.
And then I woke up and I got hungry again, so I ate some more. And then.
Okay, peace. Peace, are you there? Okay, so the main aim for the story is to, can anyone remember what JT said in his story? What did he do? Nathan, can you remember what he said?
I think he said he ate some food and went home.
Okay. I think Wendy, is JT, is that what you said?
I said I went home and had something to eat. Yeah.
Okay. So so basically Nathan did get what you said right? Now the aim of this story is to basically, like, a lot of us, we communicate, but we're not really listening. So if there was a lot more of us here and I asked each and every one of us, what did that person say? We may not have remembered, because yes, they're communicating with us, but we're not really listening. Does that make sense? So one most important thing is we want to listen, but that's that. So why do we feel like we need to communicate? Why? Anyone? Anyone? Hi, Jade, welcome.
Hi,
Welcome, thank you for joining us.
no problem.
Okay, so why do we feel like we want to communicate? Anyone?
To have like an effective dialogue, and also to basically to learn, to listen, to
Okay.
understand.
Okay. Yeah. That's an important one, because like the game we just played now, we're communicating, but are we really listening to what the person is saying? Thanks, Wendy, really, really good. So we need to communicate. It's very, very important, because it increases your influence in every situation. If a person feels like you're really listening to them, they're going to feel valued, right? If you're talking to someone and they're probably on their phone, or you ask them a question and they go, what did you just say? And you have to repeat yourself. You're not really going to feel like communicating with them, because you don't feel like they're really paying attention to you, right? So it really does increase your influence in every situation, right? And I want us to have a grasp on why connecting with people is so vital, because we communicate every single day through our phones, messages, just smiling at people. That is communication in itself, because you smiling shows that you're just being nice to them. But are we connecting with them? For example, when you're applying for a job, right? The one criteria is that you're able to communicate effectively. That's one key thing that would probably be there. What do they require you to have? They require you to communicate effectively, because you're working with other people, you're working with teams. And if you cannot communicate effectively, then they can't function as a team if one can't relay a message to someone else. Am I making sense here? Another reason why is because we want to connect with family and friends, the community, our workplace. And the thing is, everything that we do happens with people, for people, and by people, right? It's like if you want to sell a product, you need people, you need customers to buy that product. And if you want to push it out, you need people to do that for you by maybe word of mouth, or telling them about your product, or giving you a good review. And whoever you're making that product for, you're making them for people as well. So it's so important that we learn how to communicate and really connect with people, because once you know how to connect with people, you will always have an edge over those that don't. And if in anything that you want to accomplish, because you've really connected with them. Now, how can we do this? Anyone have an idea of how we can really communicate and connect with people? Anyone? Nathan?
How to communicate, did you say?
How do you feel like we can really connect with people, or like communicating? Yes. How would you communicate with someone?
Doing something that you both like.
Okay, but how would you communicate with them?
Don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else want to have a go? Jade? Thank you.
I'll just probably just talk to them about what I want to get across.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, just talking. Talking is definitely needed, or just listening to them as well. Yeah. Someone said communicative competence is okay, that requires interactional competence. Yes. Yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, so how? Let's talk about the how, right? Now, obviously, lockdown restrictions might they're starting to ease, but we've not really entered the new normal. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I still see a lot of people kind of staying away, not coming too close, and which is understandable. They're trying to keep their 2 meters, right? There's lots of people still getting vaccinated, and it's still not very safe to be out and very close in person. But the thing is, we still don't know what this new normal will look like. Do you guys agree? We don't really know what the new normal will look like, right? And because we've been out for so long, a lot of us might start to feel a little bit of social anxiety, like, okay, how do I communicate with this person? I haven't seen them in like nearly 2 years. How have they been? Have I lost my edge in communicating? Do I really know how to interact with people? These might be thoughts that are going through our heads, right? Now, the most important thing, like Jade mentioned, is just to talk, right? That's one thing. Just talk, just get your words out. But let's talk about your words, because your words are very, very, very powerful, right? What you say and how you say it, they carry weight. It's more about how you say it. How are you saying what you're saying, right? We can all say something, but it's how you say it that can really have an effect on an individual. Okay. Now we're going to play a game, right? Because we're here, this is a workshop. We want to actually see how we communicate, and the skills we have and the skills that we can improve as individuals to communicate. So what we're going to do is I need 2 volunteers, right? So who is willing to, who wants to volunteer? Anyone? We need 2 people to play the feedback game. So this feedback game is you're going to have to give a feedback to someone else. So we have person A and person B, and you're going to give a feedback in an insulting and direct manner, right? So if
I can volunteer.
Raise your hands. Anyone want to take part? Who's volunteering?
I think Tuka wants to volunteer, and I don't mind going as well.
Okay, Tuka, and so Tuka and JT.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, so what we're gonna do, Peace, if you can send them the script. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna have a script, right? JT, do you want to be person A or B?
I'll be B.
You'll be B. Okay, so Tuka will be person A. Yes. So if you'll get a script, and what you want to do is read the script out to everyone. So let's hear what you're saying and how you're conversating with JT, and JT vice versa as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're both, I think person A, Tuka, you're person A, right? So you're going to be giving an insulting feedback to JT. You're going to be giving a feedback. Yeah. Right? Are we ready? Do you have the script there, or?
Is that second attempt? So yeah, I've got the script here.
The first one, the first.
Yeah.
You got the script. Okay, JT, have you got the script?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So do you wanna start?
Okay, so just so I'm clear, it has to be in a insulting way, you said.
So literally just read the script as it is. But what I want everyone else to take a mental note of is I want you all to let us know whether they're being too direct or too insulting, because the script might not be insulting to you as an individual, right? Because you might see it in a different light. So I want everyone else to just take a mental note and let us know if Tuka's been too rude, too direct, or she basically just got her point straight to JT. Does that make sense?
So yeah.
Okay.
So everyone in the team really appreciates you, and we know you tell very inspiring stories that we all greatly enjoy.
Wow, that's really nice to hear.
Yes, and we would love that in addition to telling your own stories, we would love that you leave some room for other people to share their stories.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Although I do have some difficulties with this, I will try to improve this, but thanks for your feedback.
Okay, is that it? I think you read the wrong. You should have, so there's a first and second attempt. Did you read?
I only received second attempt. I didn't receive first attempt.
Okay, sorry. Please, sorry, can we send the first attempt to Tuka and then just scrap that and then we'll start again, please? Sorry about that.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Was my reading not correct?
So we'll start with the first attempt. Let me know when you have it and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I've got first role play, yeah.
Okay. How about you, JT? Have you got the first one?
Not yet. I still have. Okay, yeah, I have it now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, please.
Okay. Good morning. I'd like to briefly discuss your attitude within the team.
That's okay. What would you like to discuss?
Well, we all agreed that you always had too much to say about the most irrelevant topics. Beside that, you rarely listen to others when you have something to say, that is actually important.
Yes, that's right. I'm someone that likes to speak my mind. So when others talk, I see it as a disturbance to my thoughts. That's why I act like I do.
Okay, but I just want you to listen to others as well.
Well, I don't feel like that is necessary, okay?
Okay, so how do we all feel like that conversation went?
That was tense.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you got to a resolution, or because Tuka came up and said she doesn't like the way you interact. She doesn't like the way you don't allow other people to speak, but I don't feel like you guys came to a conclusion or how you're going to solve it. Am I right? Anyone else thinking the same way?
Yeah, we haven't come to a conclusion.
Yeah, and the conversation ended, right? So how do you feel like anyone else, how could we improve that communication? I've got hands raised. B, I'm not sure what your name is, but B, did you want to go?
Yes, my name is Bertie.
Oh, hi, Bertie.
Oh, hi. I would say I just wanted to contribute towards the scenario. I would say they've spoke their mind, but they didn't quite reach the aim of the conversation, which is to make a point for both of them, or JT or the first person to be heard by JT, or for JT to make something out of the comment that he got from the first person.
Yeah.
So in this case, I would say this communication wasn't quite successful. It didn't quite do the deal.
No, they didn't, did they?
No.
I agree. How do you feel like Tuka could have addressed what she's trying to tell JT? Because she does have a point. But
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She does have a point, but how you pass your message is very important. So if you want to be heard, you need to pass your message in a constructive way for JT not to feel insulted or not to feel picked on. So she should have reformulated what she said to in a way where by JT can take it as a feedback, but because there JT didn't take it as a feedback, he took it as an insult. So then a feedback or a comment, like a remark, should be something that the other the other party has to take into consideration in order to improve whatever they want to improve. So yeah,
I agree. No, thank you, Bertin. Even JT mentioned, he said it was quite tense, and it's only role play, but he said it was tense. So that's what he got from that. So imagine if it was happening for real. Anything can happen. That person can lash out and say, "Oh, you're coming for me. Why are you speaking in that manner?" Thank you, Bertin, for that contribution.
no problem.
Does anyone else have any contribution to how that conversation went, or how we can improve that conversation? Anyone? Nathan, do you want to have a go? Or Jade?
No, I'm okay.
I think if I can comment,
Yes, go
I
for it.
think when having obviously difficult conversations or trying to communicate something, me being person A, I think it's important to not make person B feel as if the topic's already been discussed without them. Because in the role play it says, you know, we've all agreed that you always have too much to say. And it's like, well, when was this agreed? Was obviously this was a conversation that was had without person B. I think that shouldn't be part of the conversation. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think there were things said, there were rude things said, there were things that were quite irrelevant. You know, it felt like he was a bad listener as well. That's probably what JT got from it. Or JT, what did you get from it? How did it make you feel?
Do you know what? It's very good that we're discussing this, because this scenario, or I know this was just role play, but this instance happens a lot of the time. And whereas one person has a point and they're trying to get the point across, but it came across to me like it was an attack on person B. Although person A was well within their rights to say the way they feel, but even someone else mentioned it here. I think it's Jem. I think Jem mentioned it when he says the choices of words that were used, such as irrelevant, unnecessary. These are words that often can be misinterpreted, and if softer words are used to convey the message, the person may not feel so attacked as person B felt.
Yes, no, I agree. And I think that's why a lot of us lash out, because we feel attacked. I mean, if you feel like you're not being heard, or someone is attacking you, your response could be either quite violent or however way you want to respond. But that's because although that person's point is valid, you didn't lay your point across the right way. So would you guys like to play this scene again? And this time, let's use the suggestions that have come from everyone, the suggestions that have come from the audience to make the conversation better, right? So you're supposed to tell JT that he talks too much in terms of when everyone is around, to the point where no one else can lay their point across. So how can you better say that? I would say in the first instance, just giving him a feedback, first of all, before talking about whatever issue it is, would help, because it will help JT feel appreciated. So if you could just read that second script and then we'll go from there, please. Person A and B, Tuka and JT.
What am I reading? Second attempt?
Yeah, so just read the second attempt, the script,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone in the team really appreciates you. And we know you tell your inspiring stories that we all greatly enjoy.
Oh, wow, that's really nice to hear.
Yes, and we would love that in addition to telling your own stories, we would love that you would leave some room for other people to share their stories.
Well, thanks for letting me know. Although I do have some difficulties with this, but I will try to improve this. Thanks for your feedback.
Okay, so how do we think this one went? It was very short and sweet. JT had a little bit of some reservation there, but he was willing to change, right? Do we agree?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel the conversation went this time, JT? Did you feel attacked, or how did you feel?
These are the conversations that I like. You know, there's no tension. It's not stressful. You know, and although playing person B, sometimes when someone gives you feedback, sometimes depending on how the person says it, we can go straight into defense mode. But the way this person said it like this, it made me realize what it is that I'm doing wrong. So it made me willing to actually listen and admit that there's going to be some difficulties, but at least made me want to try to improve.
Yeah. No, definitely. Tuka, any thoughts?
I like the fact that it started from a positive, and made person B still feel like the team appreciates them, and the way that they communicate. But maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it.
No, definitely. Thank you. Anyone else have any contribution to how this conversation went? Yeah, Bertine.
Hi, thank you. Again, yeah, in this conversation, I would say went really well. This is what I would call a constructive conversation.
Yeah.
So the point was rightfully made, and the receiving person as well did not feel uncomfortable or insulted, or felt in a way that even if he didn't want to listen, he would listen, because the way the person who approached him, the way she came across, put him in a safe environment for him not to be able to retaliate in the in the rude way or not listen, but at least he took it on board because of the way they put it up. So for me, this is a perfect way of passing on your message. For someone to listen.
No, definitely. I love your contribution, Bertin. Thank you, because you literally put the nail on the head. Just those little things, like someone mentioned, the word choice is irrelevant, unnecessary. They need to be replaced to smoothen the conversation, right? I would say in this instance, saying things like, everyone in the team really appreciates you. Everybody loves compliments, right? I blush when I hear compliments, like, coming on, the guys they said, oh, you're glowing. And, you just beam with a smile, right? When people compliment you. So if you start any conversation with that person is calm. They're like, oh, okay, thank you. I actually did make an effort this morning and you noticed it. So yeah, thank you. So anything else you say after that, they're more than happy to receive it, even if they don't like it. Because in this instance, JT wasn't sure. He goes, okay, I'm not sure. I will try and improve this, but yes, it's something I can work on. He was open to the change. And that's what we want in conversations, appreciating that person, telling him that he says inspiring stories. JT feels good. Okay, my stories are making an impact in some way or another, and he knows that people greatly enjoy it. And then Tuka goes, although, it would be nice if, whilst telling your own stories, we would love that you leave some room. It's so subtle, it's so peaceful, and the message is relayed, and that is the whole point. So do you all think that it's possible to give a confrontation without judgment and not in an offensive way? Bertin?
Sorry, I'm talking a bit too much. I'm gonna leave soon, but I just want to contribute as much as I can. In my opinion, yes, you can do that all the time. Okay. If you put yourself in the other person's shoes, just put yourself in that position that you are the one doing like something that is not really, really right.
Yeah.
And how would you love to be told that you have to improve? Whenever you think about that, you will weigh your words. You will say like, oh, I can't say this because if somebody says that to me, I won't like it. So I can't say it to somebody else. So put it in a way you would love to be told. Yeah. Then I think that make a big impact. Yeah. Yeah. For me, that's my trick.
No, I love that. I definitely agree. It brings me to my next point in the presentation, because that's empathy, right? But we'll come to that. No, thank you, Bertine, for your contribution. No problem. Okay, so the thing is, everyone always has something to say, and we all want to feel valued one way or another. But it's just knowing that you're respected in anything that you do. So let's talk about the communication skills that you need to actually have that type of conversation and relay any message that you want to, as well as to combat the social challenges post-lockdown, because we haven't really interacted with our friends and families for nearly 2 years now. And it's quite daunting because you may have forgotten how to just talk to people because you haven't had to do that for a long time. And just having these basic skills can really help you relay that message. And the very first thing is empathy, like Bertin said. She says that is literally her go-to. Empathy. What is empathy? What's empathy? Jade, did you want to have a go? What's your understanding of empathy?
Isn't it when you can like relate with someone how they're feeling?
Yeah.
So you can feel their sadness and you resonate with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to contribute? That's really good. Exactly what it is. So empathy is, it just helps us communicate our ideas in a way that makes us sense others and understand them. And when they communicate with us as well, they feel like they can relate with us. And it's putting yourself in their shoes, their point of view. Like if you're having a conversation and a friend comes up to you and says, oh, at home, my parents were so scared of us having COVID that we refused to go out. But in your household, it may be completely different. It may be that you didn't have those worries because you thought, oh, well, if I get it, but we still need to go out anyway. It's putting yourself in their shoes and saying, do you know what? I understand that, yes, it can be very frightening and fearful to be out there and not want to catch COVID and be ill, because your health is important and you're very careful, and that's good. I totally understand your point of view. It's just having that person understand that you see where they're coming from, right? The next thing is to pace yourself when you talk to them. If someone is just telling you that they've maybe lost someone, or it may be that maybe you just need to be silent and just listen to them. There's absolutely nothing wrong in just being silent for a moment. Maybe the person just needs to talk and that's all they need to do, and all you need to do is listen. So it's pacing yourself and knowing when to talk, knowing when not to. That's very, very key. And empathy, we definitely need it in every conversation because it's one of the foundational blocks of a great social interaction. It's very powerful when you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, even if you haven't really been through that situation or scenario. You may not really understand, but if you can put them in if you can put yourself in their shoes, you're able to understand how to interact with them in that situation, right? Another thing is if your friend is embarrassed, and being able to understand another person's mental state and what they might be thinking in response to a situation. If they're embarrassed, how would you handle that situation if your friend is embarrassed about something? Anyone? What would you do? What would you say? Would you just laugh at them, or what would you do in that situation if they're embarrassed about something? Yeah, Bertin.
Before I answer, I just wanted to ask, clarify. When you say embarrassed, from the comment that you've made to them, or from something that somebody else has done or I've said?
It could be in any situation. We can go with something that's been said to them and they feel very embarrassed about it. Maybe about their body. Maybe they're very body conscious. And it really has affected their self-esteem, what that person has said to them, and they are embarrassed about it and they're telling you about it. So in that case, how would you deal with that situation?
Well, I would say I would try to positively trying to lift her self-esteem. I will put it that way, depending on what, like for the body, for instance. I will give an example of people who have, maybe worse shapes or bigger, that still go about the business, that don't really mind what people say. Yeah. Or my own experience, I would just tell her, listen, not everybody will like you, not everybody will do this, but then that doesn't stop you to be who you are. Mm-hmm. So that shouldn't change who you are. You should be proud of yourself, because at the end of the day, everybody's different. So don't mind that person. They're just too low to come with this kind of comment. If it's somebody, that's how I will go about it. Yeah. Trying to make them feel that it's okay to see people like that around you, because these things always happen. So not everybody is polite, not everybody is, do the things the right way. But then you still have to be able to walk above that. So that's how we'll go about it.
No, I like that, because you're encouraging that person and telling them that they're actually beautiful and you don't need any other people.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you.
No, thank you. So anyone else want to contribute to that? It's so important that we pay attention to their mental state as well, because they might be at a place where they don't even want to hear it because they are so feeling very low, you know, and just words of encouragement at that moment in time, rather than, oh, why should you be embarrassed? Come on. Like, you know, just words of like, you are beautiful, you know, you're beautiful. You don't need to worry about what other people are saying about you. That can make a whole difference as well. It's that empathy, you know, and just seeing things from their point of view. Thank you, Burton. Anyone else want to contribute to that? Okay. Now let's talk about the communication skills, right? Another thing is, so from this little bubble, what do we think is the next thing that we need to be aware of? Anyone want to have a go? What else would you feel? What other skill would you feel like you might need? Okay, I'll say awareness. Awareness is very, very important. Self-awareness. What do we mean by self-awareness? It helps us communicate more honestly, with greater openness to feedback that you might receive and you may not. And as a consequence, we're able to communicate more effectively with those around us, right? I'll give you an example, right? If you're self-aware about how, you know, you talk to individuals, you're very sensitive, you know that you have to, your pace has to be different. If someone comes to you and they're feeling very low, you know that it's not a time to laugh. You know, it's a time to just encourage them. You're aware of your surroundings, you're aware. And you also know that if you have said something wrong to a person that, and they tell you about it, I think what you said has upset me, you're very aware of that. And you know that, okay, next time, maybe I need to say it in a better way, or I need to say it a different way. You're aware of what you're saying. So what that will make you do is you're conscious of how you're interacting and talking with people and those around you, and how your words might hurt someone. Does that make sense? Research has shown that, you know, when people are more self-aware, they tend to have a more open and curious mindset about themselves. They're more prone to, okay, how am I talking to this individual? Am I making sense? Am I being rude? Am I being nice? Am I being respectful? If you're aware of your conversations with people, you will make it a conscious effort to make people feel valued when you communicate with them, and you know that you want to respect their sayings and what they're thinking as well, and their point of view. And you're less likely to beat yourself up about things, and you're more likely to say what went wrong. If someone has said to you, I don't like that comment that you made, because you're self-aware, you say to yourself, okay, let me take a step back and think about this comment that I made. Why did it upset her? You know, maybe I just need to tweak it a little bit the way I said it, because I did want to get my point across, but maybe it's just how I said it, right? What you say is not as important as how you say it. And it's just thinking to yourself, what can I learn from this conversation that didn't go so well? What can I learn from it? How can I improve it? Being more aware of yourself and others could really, really help. One thing that one can do is you can increase your self-awareness by doing a daily check. You know, you can ask yourself, okay, what went well today? How did my conversations go? Did it go well? Did they understand? Did I listen? What didn't go so well? What can I change? What can I do better? Does that make sense? And yeah, now the third thing is perspective. Perception is everything. Like, we see life in a complete different way. We all see life differently, right? So I want us to have a look at this picture, and I want you to tell me what you see. Now, do we see 4 or do we see 3?
Both.
Both. Okay. What anyone else? What do you see? Do you see 4 or do you see 3?
I see 4.
See 4. Was that Jade?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jade. Anyone else? What do you see? 4 or 3? Because we can all see a picture, but me and you are seeing complete 2 different things. Would you agree that that's possible?
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, Bertie.
I can see both. 4 and
Okay.
both.
Yeah.
4 and 3.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're standing on the picture.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Can anyone see 3? Because we haven't had anyone see 3 besides people that see both. Tuka, what do you see? And Tofumi, what do you see? Anyone else?
I see both.
You see both. Okay. JT, you see both as well.
Yeah, depending on where I choose to point my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I see both as well. I see 4 if I look to the left, and I see 3 if I look to the right. And the point that we're trying to make here is perspective. We really all see the world as you are. You see the world as you are based on, how you've grown up, what you've been taught, nature, nurture, the things that you've been, brought up, like thought to believe in and everything. You see the world as you are. But what we want to do with individuals, sometimes when we're interacting with people, we want to match and mirror. We want to match and mirror, but how do we do this? Anyone want to talk about how we match and mirror people? Anyone? Okay, so how do we match and mirror? We do this by building a rapport with people. What does this mean? You're creating a feeling of commonality. When people have things in common, they feel like, oh my goodness, I have known her, I have just met her, but I feel like, do you ever get that feeling? You just met someone and you talk, but you have so much in common that you feel like you've known her for 10 years or you've known him for 10 years. Anyone? Because you have a few things in common, right? So, and that could be like the connection that you need there and there, and you're just talking and you become literally best friends because you're like, oh, I go to that gym. Oh, I go there too. I went to this primary school. Did you? Oh yeah, do you know this girl? You're building a rapport, you're building and creating a feeling of commonality. And the thing is, people always like people who are like themselves, or they like people who are like what they would like to be, right? Do we all have anyone that we aspire to be like, or that inspires us, like celebrities or anyone? Do we all have, people who inspire us? JT, well, who inspires you?
Well, he's not really a celebrity. He's a celebrity in my eyes, but it's my dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. Okay. So because your dad inspires you, you probably do things like your dad does it, right?
Well, I try to. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, but that's it. That's the thing. Like we are people like who are people who are like themselves and who they want to be like. So you probably want to be like your dad, right? So you do things to try and mirror. You match and mirror what he does. Yes, I'm making sense. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else who inspires you? For me, for example, I absolutely love Will Smith, because just listening to his story and how he's become who he is, I admire Will Smith. Anyone else? Who do we inspire? Who inspires us? Okay, another person that inspires me is on this platform as well. She really inspires me and I want to be like her. So I would match and mirror like the things that she does. Okay, so now I want us to think about someone you like a lot and then raise your hand if that person is like you or how you want to be. Think about someone you like a lot, like JT said, his dad. It could be anyone. Now think about them and raise your hand if you want to kind of be like them, or they're how you want them to be. Or are they like you? It could be friends, right? It could be friends that you like a lot. Would you say that they're like you a little bit? JT?
Yeah, I mean, I think they obviously with whoever you get along with, it could be a family member, it could be a friend. There will be an element of commonality there, as you say. just because you will either share the same interest or you have the same sense of humor. But I think in all of us, we all have those people, or at least one person who we can say that's who we like.
Yeah, no, of course, definitely. Now let me just change that question a little bit, right? Now think of someone that you don't like. Now raise your hands if they're not like you or you don't want to be them. Okay, JT. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I don't know. I think the term "don't like" can be perceived as quite confrontational, but there's certain people that you will meet that you don't necessarily share the same values or morals with.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. And naturally, myself, if I come across such a person, I wouldn't necessarily want to be around them too much.
Okay.
Just to protect my own peace. And do I want to be like them? No. Okay. Do they want to be like me? Probably, you know.
But the point is, no, thank you for that contribution, JT. But the point is that you don't want to match and mirror them, yes? You don't want to do things like they do things, and that's okay. It's very okay. So that's the point here. Like, you need to realize that when you're communicating with someone, everybody sees the world as they are, right? So for you to fully understand that you two are talking about a certain topic and you're not really understanding what they're saying, but you need to remember that they see the world a different way to how you see it. You just need to either match and mirror them if you believe in their values, or respect their values. Does that make sense? Okay, so another thing, the fourth thing is listening. Oh, listening is so important. Why would listening be important? It's so important because so many things can be lost in translation. Like when we started this workshop, we did a quick game, right? Where we had to form a story as a group and then talk about what that person said or what JT mentioned or what Tofumi mentioned. And if you weren't listening, we won't be able to say what that person did in that story, right? So listening is important because you won't be able to get your message across, really. But how do we listen? We listen by really paying attention to their thoughts, paying attention to what this person is saying, and not just what they're saying, but their body language as well. Paying attention to their feelings, their behaviors of that other person, and seeing the world through their eyes, through their perspective. Because without being able to listen effectively, we will misunderstand each other. And once that happens, then we're not able to communicate effectively. Right? Now we're going to play a game. Do we have pens and papers briefly? We're going to play a game called Listen and Draw. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to give instructions for us to draw. You're going to draw a picture through the things that I tell you, and hopefully the picture comes out how it's supposed to, right? So let me know when you're ready with your pens and papers for the listen and draw game.
Ready?
Ready? Okay, Nathan, are you ready? Jade?
Yes, ready.
Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Ready? Okay. Suka, ready? Tofumi, you ready? Burton, are you ready? Okay, so here we go. Now, draw a medium-sized circle in the middle of your paper. Right? All done? Now draw a medium-sized square below the circle, but have the top of it touch the bottom of the circle. Let me know if you want me to repeat that again. Draw a medium-sized square below the circle, but have the top of it touch the bottom of the circle. Yeah? Next instruction, draw a middle-sized heart in the square. Draw a medium-sized heart in the square. How are we doing? Too fast?
My drawing skills are really appalling. Don't expect any miracles here.
You're just drawing shapes, circles, squares, don't worry. Okay, so fourth instruction, draw two smaller rectangles, one on each side of the square. They should go the wide way, not the tall way, yeah? Two rectangles, the wide way, not the tall way, and they should touch the sides of the square. Also, the top of each rectangle should line up with the top of the square. Yeah? How are we doing? Jade, are we on board? Too fast?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Good. Okay. Fifth instruction, draw a medium-sized triangle above the circle. The bottom of the triangle should touch the top of the circle. Draw a medium-sized triangle above the circle. The bottom of the triangle should touch the top of the circle. Sixth instruction, draw 3 small stars anywhere inside the triangle. Yeah. And then draw a small triangle in the center of the medium-sized circle. In the center of the medium-sized circle. Draw an arc which curves up below the small triangle. Have I lost anyone?
Yes, you've lost me from the triangles.
Okay, so let me read it again. Draw a small triangle in the center of the middle-sized circle. Draw an arc which curves up below the small triangle. Then finally, draw 2 small circles above the small triangle, one slightly to the right, one slightly to the left. I'll say that again. Draw 2 small circles above the small triangle, one slightly to the right and one slightly to the left. Okay, when we're done, let's put our cameras on and let's see what our pictures look like. Let's see what the pictures look like. JC, are you done? Do you want to show us yours?
Mine looks like a very very
not bad.
Popular scarecrow.
Okay. Looks like Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else want to show their picture? Let's see. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay.
That looks better than mine.
Alex, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it shows we're all listening. Let me see the next picture. Is that Jade? Let me see. Come closer. Let me have a look. Oh, sorry, I can't see. I can't really see. Maybe you need to put it to the camera. Yes. Okay, yeah. These faces are looking very sad though. Okay, thank you. Really good. Really, really good. Tiffany, let's see yours. Anyone else want to show their pictures? Yeah, really good. Thank you. Okay, so who's ready for what it should look like? Okay, let's see. Not bad at all. Now, here's what it should look like. Do we see it?
I wasn't far off, to be fair.
No, everyone was not far off at all. So we were all very close. We were all very close, but little details here and there, but we're very, very close. So we are listening. So the point of this game is like, we can, no, so nobody got this perfect picture, did we? Did anybody get this picture exactly as it is?
No.
Oh, but I was the closest.
Let's see yours again.
No judgment, please.
Yeah, no, yours looks like the others as well.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, and the thing is, they all have sad faces, but this one has a smiley face. So we did get the image, but there are little details here and there that we missed. And this is exactly what happens when we communicate with people, because we're not really listening. Like, we miss things here and there. And this could cause the other person to feel like that they're not being listened to, or we misunderstand them because we're not really listening to what they're saying, because we've missed little details here and there. Does that make sense? So it's very, very important when communicating to listen effectively. Now, how can we be better listeners? Anyone have any ideas of how we can be better listeners? I have one in my head, like literally just putting the phone away and paying attention. Anyone else want to talk about how we can be better listeners? Like, how could we have?
I think
Breton wanted to say something.
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, but doing one thing at a time. If you want to listen, listen. Don't do anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Anyone else? Like putting our phones away so we can really focus. We as
Yeah.
we can really do one thing at a time. And that's because when we do one thing at a time, we do it really well. If we're doing too many things, we don't do them so well. Anyone else? So how can we be better listeners? Making eye contact. Imagine if I was doing this workshop and I was looking outside the window. Would you guys feel like I was communicating with you?
No.
No, at all.
You look distracted.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be thinking, what is she doing? No, she's not even paying attention. You must make eye contact with anybody that you're speaking to. It's just it's just little respect, and just they will really feel like you're really paying attention to them and you're there. Another thing is being present, right? Imagine if you finish the game and everyone's just waiting here because my mind has just wandered. I'm daydreaming, I'm somewhere else. You'd be thinking, is she really here? Is she listening to us? I just drew a picture for her. We need to be present when we communicate with people so that they can feel like we're really listening to them. And the same goes vice versa. Another thing is keeping an open mind and listening without judging or jumping to conclusions, right? Keeping an open mind. When you have an open mind, you're open to what the other person has to say. You're open to their perspective. Like I said before, everybody has their own perception on life. They see things the way they are. So it's just being open to that and knowing that this person might not be exactly as you are, and that's okay, right? And not jumping to conclusions. Have you, ever had a conversation with someone and they're telling you a story and they say, oh, I met Bertha that we haven't seen in years, and then you go, oh, Bertha, how's she doing? How's she been? And then the conversation just goes completely off because we're now talking about Bertha. But what this friend was telling you was very important, because maybe she went home to see someone who was ill or someone who meant a lot to her, and she was telling you about the story, but then you've completely gone off topic now because you're now talking about Bertha and we didn't let her finish the story. So we don't want to just jump and judge. Another thing is creating a mental model of information. So for example, when someone is talking, we're listening to the words and we're kind of picturing what that person is saying in our heads, right? So if someone is telling us like they were trying to get the bus and the bus driver just left and he didn't stop, that mental image could be a little bit funny, but and annoying as well. It's just picturing that and just relaying how you feel about that information that has just been relayed to you, and just having the conversation flow and just laughing about it because it can be funny, right? How many of us have ever been in that situation? You get to the bus stop, the bus driver sees you and he just leaves. He just leaves the bus stop. Yeah, and then you have to wait for the next bus. So listening to words. The next thing is don't interrupt or impose solutions. Some just need you to listen. Some people just want to talk and they just want you to listen. If it is that you do have an advice for that person, what you could do is once that person has finished their conversation, they finished talking about that story, then you can say, would you like my advice? Would you like my opinion? You know, or it may be that you don't need to say anything and they just needed you to listen. Like I said, not interrupting, letting them finish and say what they have to say as well is important. The next thing is you want to ask questions only to understand, right? So if they're having a conversation with you, but you're not really understand what they mean, it's okay to ask questions, but you're asking questions to understand what they're saying, not asking questions to divert the conversation that you start to talk about something else. It's like the example I gave about maybe a friend going back home to see a family member who hasn't been well, and they're really telling you about how that has made them feel, and then they tell you about an old school friend, and then you completely just divert the conversation to that old school friend and how they've been. It's something you can come back to at the end of the conversation and just allow them to finish and then ask questions only to understand what they're trying to say. The next thing is trying to feel what they're talking about, even if it makes absolutely no sense to you, or even if you have never been in that situation before, is showing empathy, putting yourself in their shoes, seeing things from their eyes, seeing things from their point of view. Once you do, you have a little bit of empathy and your response will be very different to someone who really can't understand what it is that they're saying or can't see their point of view. Okay, the last thing is paying attention to what's not being said. Most of the time, when we communicate, it's not just through words, we're communicating through body language. For example, I'm talking and I'm using my hands a lot, right? Hand gestures, or I'm smiling, right? So, you know, maybe I'm happy and then as I'm talking, I'm happy to be here. So if someone is talking to you and they're talking about a situation and they're quite sad about it, it clearly shows that that is something that probably means a lot to them and they're upset about it. So we want to pay attention to their body language, their tone of voice, and their behavior whilst they're having that conversation. Like I said, words are only a fraction of the message. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to all these signals. And the final thing is, one thing that I do that really helps is I summarize that conversation. So for example, if someone gives me, excuse me, my throat is dry there. If someone gives me a set of instructions, right, to follow, I could summarize it and say, okay, so you want me to do X, Y, and Z, just to be clear, so I don't miss it. This is what you need me to do. So I'm summarizing that conversation, right? And if there's anything that's been missed out, that person could relay it back and say, oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant you could have the pink one instead of the blue one, or vice versa. And those conversations that result in agreement about future obligations. For example, if your friend tells you that she's really trying to lose weight and she's planning to go to the gym and eat healthy and maybe not eat past 7 or 9 p.m., you know, you're actually following through by summarizing that conversation. And it, you know, only do it if it feels perfectly natural. And saying, okay, right, so this is the plan of action, right? You're going to go to the gym twice a week. You're going to, you know, eat your 5 veggies a day, and you're going to do X, Y, and Z. They would really, really feel that you really, really listened to them and you paid attention to them. Does anyone have any questions or contributions? No? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, JT.
No, sorry, Taraji. I was just gonna say on I think on the last thing that you said, it was very, very important, because a lot of the time, I was watching well, I'm gonna name drop someone, and I know there's some people that don't really like this person, but Steve Harvey. I was watching one of his segments that he does, and he was talking about the conversation that him and his wife has. And sometimes when they have an argument or something, they do this thing where they well, they call it she said he heard. So he basically tells his wife what he heard, and then she says to Steve Harvey, no, this is what I said and this is what I meant. And that's their way of sort of summarizing the conversation. And I had a very similar experience as well with my own friend, where I was trying to give her constructive criticism and trying to help her develop her business and telling her what she should do. And then I was telling her to repeat everything that I just said back to me, so that I know that she has fully understood. But she opted to write, and sometimes that method is fine as well. But sometimes you need to speak it back to the person, because then they'll be able to correct you on where there could be a misinterpretation somewhere.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing up that point. That's very important.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thank you for mentioning that, because it is very important. I think I think one thing you can take today is just try to summarize every conversation you have. You don't necessarily have to go, okay, cool, I'm about to summarize our conversation. You know, in your head as a conversation, just summarize it. Okay, so you said you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Okay, because we all see life completely differently. We see it as we are, and we're all different people. We're all unique in ourselves. And for us to really understand what that person is saying and to make sure we don't miss or haven't missed anything, that summarization can pick things that we have missed. So yeah, thank you. That's really, really good. Now, the next thing is speaking, right? We've talked about listening, body language, not assuming what that person is about to say, and summarization. Now, speaking, what is the magic pill? There is no magic pill, but to speak. Just speak, speak, speak. Say what you need to say, but say it, and you can say it in these ways, like with non-verbal communication, like body language. I've been using lots of hand gestures. When people are talking to you, they might feel quite down, or their face, they might be quite sad, or their tone of voice might be different. So it's paying attention to these things. And when you're speaking as well, if you're excited for someone, your tone of voice is going to be different from when someone has just told you that they've lost someone and you're talking to them. It's going to be very different. Eye contact as well, just to make them know that you're there, you're paying attention. Being clear, think about what you want to say before you say it. Sometimes it's necessary that we do that, just paying attention, right? Okay, this is what I want to say. Let me say it in, because how you say it is important. So it's making sure that you're saying it in the right way. The third thing is friendliness, right? Being relaxed makes you more approachable, and it will encourage people to open up and speak to you. If you're smiling, if you look approachable by just being friendly and relaxed, like, hey, what's up? Let's talk. What's the problem? They're open to want to talk to you. The next thing is being confident, right? Now, confidence is another topic on its own, but to be confident, you could start with just making eye contact and using a firm, friendly tone to talk to that person. Literally, that is all you need, and once you start there, it just flows as you go along and it gets easier. And empathy, of course, is just respecting that person's point of view, remembering that everybody has their perspective on life and they see things as they are. So having that in the back of your mind, that you do need to have some empathy towards that person. Another thing is being open-minded. Be open to listen and understand their point of view and how they see the world, so that you can get your message across. And lastly, respect, using their name when you talk to them, making eye contact, respecting what they're saying. And the thing is, everybody wants to hear a story. We all love stories, right? Right from childhood, we want to hear a good story. And that's what you all need to do. When you communicate with people, just tell your story. Just tell your story. Who are you? What do you want people to know about you? What do you have, and why should people care about it, right? Now, what are the things, I just want to, because of time, we did start quite late. So what are the things that you would say to people to connect with them, right? What are the things that you would say that are important? I say trust and honesty. If you're honest with someone, they're bound to trust you because they know that you will tell them the truth. If you start with that, no matter what, the communication will always go better, right? And that friendship will continue to grow and blossom because that person trusts you and they know that you can be honest. Now, the last thing is your words. Your words are powerful, right? I want us to name certain things that have been said to us that really hurt our feelings briefly. What words have been said that have hurt your feelings in the past or recently? What type of words will people say that will hurt your feelings? Anyone?
I've got a long list, but I'll wait for
Tofumi, do you want to have a go? Just name one thing that someone has said to you that has hurt your feelings, or any word that could be said that will hurt your feelings. Nathan, Jade?
Maybe like one time when I was upset, maybe someone said, was like, oh, well, now it's not going to solve anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was quite dismissive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so your words are powerful. Thank you for sharing that too for me. Thank you. Your words are very powerful. So sometimes we need to think about what we're saying before we say it, because your words can really hurt someone. Your words should aim to inspire people. It should lift people up, right? It's like the feedback exercise that we did. Appreciating JT because you do admire and appreciate that he tells stories, but you want him to leave room for others to hear their stories as well. So it's just appreciating him and knowing that he's appreciated. And how we do this is just be authentic and be human, right? I know that probably sounds weird to say be human, but literally that's all we need to be, human. That shows empathy, you're authentic, and you're just kind to people. And just to finally close off, if we look at this picture, right, these are completely different people to who we are, right? Do we all agree? They're from a different tribe, they're from a different culture, they see things differently, and we will never understand why they do certain things because it's not our perception on life, it's not our perspective. But the thing is, until we truly let go, until you find humility, only then can you have empathy and finally connect with that other person, because that is a big thing, empathy. And through that connection and that contact that we make with others, we learn more about ourselves and who we are and the people around us. So once we have that in the back of our minds, connecting with people, showing empathy, knowing that people see life in a different light, in a different way, we're able to relate with them and understand their point of view, understand where they're coming from, and also give them that respect that they deserve, because we are all unique individual beings. These people are beautiful. They're uniquely beautiful in their own way. I don't know if I'll put a stick in my nose. I don't think I ever would, but I will never understand why they do it. But I can respect that it's their culture. I can respect that it's them and that's their perception of life. And that's okay, right? And that's that. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions at all? Okay.
I have a question. It's not from myself, but it's from one of our young people who unfortunately couldn't be with us.
Okay.
But they would like to know how can they tell their parents something.
How is that the question? How can they tell their parents something?
Yeah, so how can they communicate? Because from what they've told me, their parents are very, they're African parents, so they have a very linear mentality and linear way of looking at life. And sometimes they find it difficult to just talk to them, so just communicate how they might be feeling, because they're scared of facing judgment or being told that they're wrong in their thinking. So how can they approach their parents in regards to the example they gave of mental health, for example? What can they say?
Yeah, this is a really, really good question, because I'm sure a lot of young people can probably relate to this. Even I can relate as an African child, even though I'm in my 20s, I can definitely relate. But I think, you know, like the feedback exercise that we had, everybody loves a compliment. And the thing is, our parents, they always do things with good intentions. They always have us in their minds when they do things for our good, right? Now, we just need to, as long as we understand that everything they do is for our good, it will always be of good intentions. Just addressing that before the start of a conversation is enough. You know, just saying, Mum, Dad, have a seat, let's sit, let's talk. You know, in the lines of, I really appreciate how well you make my lunch. I really appreciate the time that it takes you when you're rushing off in the morning to make this lunch, even though you have to catch that train at 9 a.m. and you're always nearly missing that train just because you have to make me lunch in the morning, right? But I would also appreciate if you didn't put vegetables in that lunch, because I would like some sausage instead. I hope I'm making sense here. It's basically appreciating what they're doing, appreciating that point of view, or appreciating what it is that they're doing or talking about, because they always have good intentions, always, right? And then voicing out what it is and explaining to them why you see it that way. Maybe, you know, coming to some sort of negotiation. Okay, can we have, maybe I can have vegetables 3 times in a week, because I understand that you give me vegetables because you want me to be healthy, grow strong, and have my 5 veg a day because it's good for my health. I want that too, but can we just cut it down, because I also want the balance of having other things that I can eat. You know, I'm sure the parents will come to an understanding and say, do you know what, she said it so nicely, she's been so polite, maybe I can, you know, come to some understanding with her, and then we can negotiate and decide how to move forward. Does that make sense? So I think the basis is, in every conversation, just appreciating the person, first of all, appreciating what they're doing and how you see them. Just, they feel respected, they feel valued, and then telling them what it is and how you say it is so important as well. That's why they could really think about what they're about to say before they say it. And the parent will probably go, well, thanks for letting me know, that's good to know. And then they give their verdict after that. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will transfer the message on, but they yeah, hopefully that would work. But I know how some parents can be, having worked with them.
Yeah, I mean, we could try, isn't it? So yeah, definitely. Let me know how that goes. Does anyone else have any questions before we close? No? Okay, I just wanted to say thank you so much, everyone, for taking part in the activities and being here, because your time is very valuable. That's it, we're not going to get this time back. So thank you for being here. If you want to be in touch with JT, I'm sure like he sent you email, so you can contact him. Or if you want to speak to myself, I'll be having more life skills sessions for our young people. So please send me an email, or you can also follow on Instagram at Taraji Rom, and or on my website as well. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all hopefully in the future in one of our other sessions.
Thank you. You were a great host.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Enjoy the sun. Have a good half term as well.